And here we are live once again. Good evening, folks. Mobile Geezer here. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. And if you're new here, we do this every Friday night. We pick some tech articles, we talk about them. I give you my show notes on my webpage, and you can click on the articles along with me, or later on go do the articles yourself. And we just generally pick some nerdy, I guess, articles. I pick articles that I think will be interesting to people who are interested in tech. If there's a big event that week, I usually have a story about that. As far as I know, I always tell you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, there were no big events this week other than MediaTek did have their event in India, and it seemed like they brought all the big tech YouTubers and sites, and then I guess flew them over there. And most of them, it was their first time in India, and it was pretty cool watching some of the videos and pictures they took. But other than that, there was nothing for us in the general public event-wise that I know about, so I just picked some stories that I thought were good stories, and hope you guys like them. And the first one in here was Brian. He was in here over a half an hour ago. No, 20 minutes ago. And Eleanor's here, so two of our most faithful right up front. And last week and the week before, we had Ted in here both times, a bit late, but always glad when he gets in here with us. And he got in a little bit earlier last week. Week before, I was on my last story when he got in. So if he comes in, I will certainly let you guys know. And of course, if by some miracle Will joins, or even Mike, that would be a miracle, I'll certainly let you guys know. And Brian says hi to Elmore. So let me show you my website. I'll show you what tonight's show notes look like. So you go over to mobilegreaser.wordpress.com. You click on today's date. You'll get just the show notes for tonight's shows, the articles that we're going to talk about tonight. And I neglected to mention, if you are new here, this is your first time, please type something in the comments to let us know you're here, and let us know where you're from. We get a few people from other countries. We certainly get people from New York, which we've got Brian, we've got Elmer right here in Tennessee with me. And we often have Renz from the Philippines. But like I said, if you're new, let us know where you're from. And let me show you while I'm at the website. Every week I probably give you a little preview of what we're going to talk about. So, first story. I said hundreds of thousands of X users jumped to Blue Sky after the election. And there was a bunch of stories on that. I took it from CNET. So we'll go over that. And to me, it was kind of a big deal story. Not huge, but like I said, there was nothing big. I found a story about sovereign AI, which I had not heard that phrase before. I said more and more countries investing resources into sovereign AI. And I found that on the World Economic Forum website. So, but interesting story, and we'll explain what sovereign AI is. And then a new Google Play Protect feature adds more malware threat detection, which is good for Pixel phones. Now, I'm pretty sure all of us that have Pixel phones, I don't have mine with me today, know we have the Google Play Protect, which it does a really good job of looking for any threats that may come to us, but they've added actually two new features that should help protect us even more. So, and we've got Renz. Hey, Renz is here. And I know you're probably on your way to work for Renz in the Philippines. It is He's 8 hours ahead of us. So for him, it's 8:05 Saturday morning. So glad you're here, Renz. I know always happy when you can make it. We're all always happy when you can make it. And if I know you, you're either getting ready for work or you're at work. But glad you're here. All right, I'm going to continue with my little preview. Brian says, get that paper, Renz. Okay. All right. Preview. Next story. I said competition for Siri. Gemini Live now available on iOS. And I have used Gemini, and I have the Gemini app on a bunch of my Android phones. I have not used it on iOS yet on my iPhone, which I have with me tonight. I had it plugged in. Today I took to work with me my OnePlus 12 and my iPhone 15 Pro Max. So those are the two phones I carried with me today. So anyway, Gemini Live is now available on iOS, which is probably not good for Siri because the full-blown new AI Siri that we're looking for isn't fully available yet. So we'll see how that goes. But I got that story on Tech Radar. Next up, another Tech Radar. I said photos overprocessed. ZeroCam can fix that. So there's a new app called ZeroCam, and it's supposed to do a good job. It's a slight subscription. You pay a small price. At least to me, it's a small price. But I'll show it to you. In my last story, we talked about TSMC 2 weeks ago about some golf course holding up building their fab in at home, but this one I said is TSMC's new Arizona fab. Now remember, they've been building this fab in Arizona for a few years. I said, is it opening in December a big deal? Both Biden and Trump will attend. So it should show you. Chips are like the most important things in the world right now because, like I said last week or the week before, at any given time, we're all probably surrounded by hundreds of chips. And there's a good chance that those chips are made by TSMC since they make more than half of the chips on Earth. So that, I think, is a good story to end with. So those would be the stories. Oh, that's right. We changed time. So, yeah, Ren says it's 9 a.m. here. Yeah, we had a 12-hour difference before. Now we have a 13-hour difference because we just turned our clocks back last week. So we went from a 12-hour difference to a 13-hour difference. So, yeah, you're 13 hours ahead of us. Thanks for reminding me, Ren. Totally forgot about that. When you're in America, where most states, I think there's 3 states that don't, go back and forth in the spring and the fall, putting the clocks ahead and back, you tend to forget. Not everybody in the world does it. I know they do that in Scotland. And Ren said daylight. Oh, yeah. So anyway, so we know he's 13 hours ahead of us. So if Ted doesn't jump in, or whenever he does, I'll certainly let you guys know. But meanwhile, I'll start on the first story. So this I just thought was interesting. Hundreds of thousands of ex-users jumped to Blue Sky after the election. Like I said, I pulled from CNET, so let's pull it up. And this was from yesterday. What is Blue Sky? Everything to know about the social media site. Blue Sky, a social media network that's similar to Elon Musk's X, has added more than 700,000 new users since the election. I think that's gone up already since then. That's by, I guess it's Gail Cooper. So let's drop into review and get rid of these ads. The social network Blue Sky has been soaring since the U.S. presidential election. On Thursday, it was listed at number 1 on the free app section of the U.S. App Store, above such popular apps as Threads and ChatGPT. I don't know the U.S. App Store. Back in early October, the site was way down the list at number 181, so they've really jumped up. According to TechCrunch, which cites figures from app intelligence firm AppFigures. According to The Guardian, the new users are mostly from North America and the UK. Well, yeah, we had the election here. And the influx has helped Blue Sky shoot up to 14.5 million users worldwide, up from 9 million in September. That's a huge jump. Although there's no way to determine how many new users left because of ex-owner Elon Musk's public support for President-elect Donald Trump, many Blue Sky users are referencing the election in their first post. Wired reports that many Taylor Swift fans, a group that once had a large presence on X, are switching to Blue Sky. Well, yeah, if Taylor switches, you can bet they're going to switch with her. A representative for Blue Sky did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Blue Sky is a social media platform that shares many similarities with X, formerly known as Twitter. X underwent a number of changes after billionaire Musk bought the site and retired legacy blue check marks showing verified accounts. People were very upset about that. Reinstated previously banned accounts and started a new subscription program. On October 16th, X announced that it was changing its block function, which allowed people to stop others from seeing their messages on the site. Accounts that have been blocked can now see that person's post on X if the posts are set to public. I kind of disagreed with that move, though they cannot reply, like, or repost them. That's not blocking, one X user replied. That's supporting stalking. I kind of agree with that. Oh, and you should know, let's see, Don Lemon left X, I believe, yesterday, and he made an announcement why he was leaving. And his main thing was that if you had a dispute with X, you now had to go through the legal battle in a Texas court. And he was upset about that because he's saying, well, they're going to lean to the right. But normally you have Texas disputes where the company is headquartered. Well, X is now headquartered in Texas, just like all of other Musk companies. So it kind of makes sense. But I just thought I should mention that because they came up with new rules and they went into effect today. So that's why Lemon left yesterday. Okay. On October 17th, Blue Sky shared a post announcing that it had welcomed 500,000 people in just one day. First day here, one Blue Sky user wrote in response to the company's post about its growth. Just getting my feet wet. Was a long-time Twitter user, but it's a shell of what it used to be. X had also updated its terms of, that's what happened today. Terms of service got updated today, or went into effect today. Terms of service, so that any lawsuits by users against the service must be handled by a federal court in North Texas, whose judges frequently deliver victories to conservative litigants in political cases, the Globe and Mail reports. The latest changes may have sparked the rise of interest in Blue Sky, which saw a surge in user accounts earlier this year when X was blocked by courts in Brazil. That's true. The block was later lifted when X paid a fine. According to the New York Times, users say Blue Sky is the app that comes closest to mimicking X. Here's what you need to know about Blue Sky. How do I sign up? Originally, Blue Sky was invite only, but it's been open to all since February. To join, just go to the main page to create an account. You can download the Blue Sky app for iOS or Android, or use Blue Sky on your desktop. That's good. And I haven't been on Blue Sky as yet. It'll ask for your email address and phone number to send an authentication code and tell you to choose a username and password, then you're in. How is Blue Sky similar to X and Threads? If you're accustomed to X, Blue Sky's design and purpose should make sense to you. The site uses vertically scrolling messages with small round photo avatars for users and icons under messages showing how many comments, likes, and reposts they've received. It looks pretty similar to X's format and Meta's Threads, which is the current top free app on the App Store. what surprises me. Although I joined Threads when it came out, like a lot of people did, and I think it's very, very good. People are saying it's dead. I think it's doing pretty good, actually. Okay, who's behind it? Here's another Twitter X connection. Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey was formerly on the board of directors, and the Blue Sky project began in 2019 when he was Twitter CEO. Jack Graber is the Blue Sky CEO. Even Blue Sky's name is related to X's former name. Dorsey confirmed the Blue Sky user speculation that the name ties to Twitter's bird mascot, the idea being the bird could fly even more freely in an open blue sky. Dorsey left the board in May, apparently because the service added moderation tools. Even though the name of the site doesn't capitalize the S in sky, it's pronounced Blue Sky. Don't rhyme it with Brewski. The app, that didn't occur to me until I read that. The app is built on something called the Authenticated Transport Protocol, or AT, a social media framework created by the company and made up of a network of many different sites. And how is Blue Sky different? Domains as handles. This is pretty cool, I think. But one thing, you can set your domain as your handle if you wish. This could help with verification, which became a heated issue for Twitter once Musk began removing blue check marks from verified accounts that refused to pay a monthly fee. Yeah, he was very hard-nosed about that. For example, a newsroom like NPR could set their handle to be at npr.org, the Blue Sky social company blog notes. Then any journalist at NPR wants to verify could use subdomains to set their handles to be at name.npr.org. That makes sense. Brand accounts could set their handle to be their domain name as well. Moderation. Moderation is also different. Another blog post says that Blue Sky is already using automated monitoring, I guess they mean bots, and is working on a system of community labeling, which is described as something similar to the shared mute block lists. Users of many social media platforms are shown posts from a feed selected for them by an algorithm, though you can influence that by following or blocking certain accounts. But Blue Sky wants to give you a chance to pick from a variety of different algorithms to determine what you see. You can mute accounts, which prevents you from seeing any notifications or top-level posts from them. That's good. Or you can block accounts, which takes that a step further, meaning you and the other account both cannot see or interact with each other's posts. That's good. And you can report posts or accounts for abuse. The blocking option may be of special interest to users who are unhappy with X's proposed change in its blocking behavior. I can see where it would. A couple of features: being able to hide replies to your posts and detach your posts from other users' posts. That's good. That quote yours are designed to stop pile-ons and other toxic behavior. I think that's very good, because if somebody takes your post and uses it, you can pull your stuff out. I think that's great. Keeping connections. It's possible that creators who acquire a following on Blue Sky might one day be able to keep connections with those who follow them, even if the service itself changes. So keep in mind, that's still future. Custom feeds. Algorithms are the rules that determine how content is filtered and recommended to users. Blue Sky has something it calls custom feeds, which allows you to choose the algorithm that determines what you see. Imagine you want your timeline to only be posts from your mutuals, or posts that have cat photos, or only posts related to sports. You can simply pick your feed of choice from an open marketplace, a blog post on the site says. A longer post goes into more detail about custom feeds and algorithmic choice. Click the hashtag icon at the bottom of the app to add and discover new feeds. Developers can use the site's feed generator starter kit to create a custom feed, and the site promises that eventually the tools will be easy enough that the rest of us can build custom feeds. Reviews. The Onion CEO, Ben Collins, tweeted in April 2023, when he was a tech reporter for NBC, that Blue Sky works and looks and feels just like Twitter. Now, this is, a year and a half ago. and praised the site's moderation, desktop experience, and reliability. As of November 12th, the site has 3.9 out of 5-star rating on the Apple App Store. Feels like early Twitter days, but more organic, wrote one reviewer. Who's using it? Here's a small list of some of the people and groups you'll see on Blue Sky, though some post more than others. And I'm not going to go through the whole list, but you've got some big names here: Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, blah, blah, blah. The Onion, LeVar Burton, Drew Carey, George Takei, that's Sulu on Star Trek, if you don't, Stephen King. And I don't know who this guy is, but I doubt if it's the one we know. In any case, so sounds like a lot of people are jumping over there. Maybe I'll create an ID there. We'll see. But just thought you guys should know about it. So I thought that was a good first story to start with. Let's see. All right, nothing new in the comments. So we will go on. Next story. More and more countries investing resources into sovereign AI. And like I said, I found this on the World Economic Forum site. Never thought I'd be pulling an article from there, but I did. What is sovereign AI and why is the concept so appealing and fraught? This is from yesterday, and you should see the comment here just below the picture. Plugging in a new supercomputer in Denmark as part of that country's sovereign AI push. Okay. And this, like I said, this is from yesterday. Do we have any? Yeah, we have a date. I don't think I have a writer. Oh, there it is. John Letzing, digital editor. All right, so let's drop this into reader view. Countries are building domestic AI factories to put their own distinct stamp on artificial intelligence development. Oh, and the reason I showed you that picture, because it seems like, go back again. Because it seems like everybody who wants to do this has to have a supercomputer. So that's why I wanted you guys to be aware of that. So they're all spending money on supercomputers. Denmark is the latest country to actively pursue sovereign AI in a bid to boost domestic research and competitiveness. But pursuing divergent development paths could hinder collaboration and undermine security. So in other words, if you're pulling your data from multiple sources or multiple countries or cultures, that's the problem. This way, you have your own culture to deal with on your own supercomputer. It says here, it codifies your culture. It'll be explained a little bit more as we go down. Denmark unveiled its artificial intelligence supercomputer last month, funded by the proceeds of the widely popular Danish weight loss drugs like Ozempic. I didn't know it came from there. It's now one of several sovereign AI, and that's why it's sovereign AI, because it belongs to their country. Initiatives underway, which one CEO believes can codify a country's culture, history, and collective intelligence, and become the bedrock of modern economy. So each one would have their own. The popular CEO, Jensen Huang, happens to run a company selling the sort of chips needed to pursue sovereign AI. That is to construct a domestic vintage of the technology informed by troves of homegrown data and powered by the computing infrastructure necessary to turn that data into a strategic reserve of intellect. Denmark aims to use its new supercomputer to pursue ambitious pharmaceutical and biotech research, as well as initiatives in just about any field where AI is a valuable tool. Initial pilot projects include developing an AI care companion and more accurate weather forecasts. In Italy, an AI factory anchored by a supercomputer was unveiled earlier this year to ensure the evolution of an Italian AI language for model for government workers. So this is all about building large language models. And you need a supercomputer, I gather. In Sweden, a supercomputer was recently revamped in part to make that country more attractive to top AI researchers, I guess their own researchers. The UAE has developed its own generative AI model, Falcon, and India earmarked 1.2 billion for an effort that includes an AI supercomputer outfitted with tens of thousands of chips. These things are not cheap to build. That's the thing. So some countries, small ones, probably aren't going to be able to afford to build their own supercomputer. 2023 was when the world discovered generative AI, as McKinsey puts it. Already, the percentage of organizations making use of the disarmingly easy way to generate code, write boilerplate content, or kickstart research has roughly doubled. Flinging open the doors to AI-powered large language models like ChatGPT has broad implications. The governments necessarily want people taking their cues from chatbots developed in other places that conceivably have contrasting political systems and cultural values. So that's the point. They want it to have your ideas in your country and your values, not conflicting values from other countries. The more everyone needs to rely on a digital brain built by plugging into the depths of the internet, the more interest there is in shaping access, and the thinking goes, no single nation should have a monopoly on that process. That's probably true. Codifying through sovereign AI might also be a way to address fears of losing a specific cultural identity to a globalized world. That makes sense. The kind of fears that feed populist political movements, we know about that after our election, sometimes with surprising success. Mastering AI at a national level requires people willing to trust it, which now apparently describes, get this, only about 1 in 3 people in the UK. So only 1 in 3 trust it. France, Australia, and South Korea, 1 in 3 in all those countries. And as few as roughly 1 in 5 in Japan and Finland. For a technology that widely off-putting, keeping a big portion of it in-house by building your own version might help allay concern. So they're thinking, okay, if they know what they're seeing is from our country, maybe people will trust it more. Avoiding sovereignty traps. If AI didn't have such an immense potential impact, the U.S. president probably wouldn't issue a national security memorandum ordering an assessment of the country's relative competitive advantage in the technology as he did next month. Sure, well, the United States was leading in this. How much longer it'll be leading, who knows? It's not surprising that countries are forging expansive plans to put their own stamp on AI. But big-ticket supercomputers and other costly resources aren't feasible everywhere. That's true. Training a large language model has gotten a lot more expensive lately. A lot of companies, Facebook, Apple, they're all buying nuclear plants now just to be able to have enough power to run these large language models. That's how important this stuff is. The funds required for the necessary hardware, energy, and staff may soon top $1 billion. Meanwhile, geopolitical friction over access to the advanced chips necessary for powerful AI systems could further warp the global playing field. Who can afford to pay TSMC and all the other companies that are designing these chips? Even for countries with abundant resources and access, there are sovereignty traps to consider. Governments pushing ahead on sovereign AI could risk undermining global cooperation meant to ensure the technology is put to use in transparent and equitable ways. Yeah, everybody could get secret about their own. That might make it a lot less safe for everyone. As an example, a place using AI systems trained on a local set of values for its security may readily flag behavior out of sync with those values as a threat. So yeah, if you're running your own in your country and you get a piece of data from somebody else's country, well, that may be a threat. Who knows? One way to share AI resources across borders would be through what its proponents call a global AI compact. The idea is that necessary computing power is like electricity. It's essential for the modern world and shouldn't be out of reach for anyone. The kind of collaboration outlined by the compact could help avoid worsening disparities created in the wake of the Industrial Revolution. Get this shocked me. Nearly 150 years after the first light bulb was illuminated, about 760 million people still don't have access to electricity. I figured there were probably some few people who didn't have electricity yet, but 760 million right now, that's a lot of people. Brian said, he's talking about Blue Sky. People switching to Blue Sky because of X's association. That's probably true. And Elon's got a heck of an association with the future president. Okay. Anyway, it just shocked me that many people don't have electricity. Electricity is just one item added to a long list of things deemed vital for any society's economic interests over the centuries. Some originated in more surprising places than others. The American social critic Lewis Mumford wrote about the importance of clocks, for example, initially put to use in monasteries before they helped give human enterprise a regular collective beat and rhythm of the machine. Time cards for factory workers followed. Mumford also believed the moral and political choices made when building a tool are more important than the tool itself. Constructing a supercomputer is one thing. The reasons why are everything. Makes sense. AI's rise has coincided with the geopolitical fracturing that has people thinking a lot about how they and their cultures fit into the bigger picture. In the U.S., a recent presidential election laid bare profound internal division, well, we think we knew that already, on what its people value and the role they think the country must play in the world. So what should its sovereign AI look and sound like? That's going to be an argument. To codify your culture, you may have to first agree on what it is. Yeah, we're not good at agreeing on stuff in this country. Anyway, there's more reading on AI and sovereignty, but I'm not going to go over all that. So now I think we all have a pretty good idea what sovereign AI is, and it looks like all the big companies are going to have their own AI large language models. So we'll see where that goes. And there's going to have to be a lot of agreements made after that, I'm sure. So just an interesting article all the way around, I thought. Okay, moving on. I'm watching to see if Ted comes in. But it does make a sound whenever somebody joins. So I'll hear if he or even Will or Mike join. But Ted's the one I look on. Let me get a swig of my beer. Okay, Google Play Protect. New Google Play Protect feature adds more malware threat detection for Pixel phones. And I got this on The Verge. And this is from day before yesterday. Pixel phones will be able to detect, and Brian, you should be interested in this. Pixel phones will be able to detect and report malicious apps in real time. The new Play Protect feature is available to Pixel phones now and rolling out to additional OEMs soon. So I thought this was a good story. And it's by Allison Josh, and she writes a bunch of their stories. So let's go into read review. Google is beefing up its malware detection with new protections designed to suss out even sneakier, ever sneakier bad actors. Android's Google Play Protect service is getting an update called Live Threat Detection, which seeks out potentially harmful apps on your phone by analyzing app behavior and alert you in real time if something looks fishy. And even now, I get a pop-up from Play Protect every once in a while, which is great. The update was first announced at Google I/O earlier this year and is available now to Pixel 6 and newer phones. So, Eleanor, you'll be able to get it. I'll be able to get it. We probably have it already. It should come to additional non-Pixel Android phones from Lenovo, OnePlus, Nothing, and Oppo, among others in the coming months. So I've got my OnePlus 12 here, and I use my Nothing phone too a lot also. So that's good to know. Live threat detection targets particularly hard to spot malware apps that hide their intentions well. That's good, especially since I told you about the sneaky one, malware in the other day that was burying itself in zip files. Rather than just scanning apps for malicious code when you download them, PlayProtect will keep looking for signs of suspicious app behavior even after they're on your phone. That's great. This can help it spot malware that remains dormant at first and later starts engaging in malicious activity. And I've given you some stories about malware that did just that sat on your computer for months and then all of a sudden kicked off. This is great. This detection takes place on device using an Android privacy infrastructure called Private Compute Core to help keep user data secure, and users will get real-time alerts to take action if needed. Google is rolling out another security feature today too, scam call detection. Also announced at I/O, this feature uses on-device AI to analyze phone calls and looks for signs that the caller is a scammer. That's great. If it spots suspicious conversational patterns or requests typical of scam attempts, it will flag the user and encourage them to end the call. That's very good. It's only available to members of the Phone by Google's app beta program, so we haven't got it yet. With a Pixel 6 or later, as of this morning, that program appears to be full. So us regular users haven't gotten it as yet. And we'll roll out to more Android phones in the future. So I just thought, hey, a little extra protection on Pixel phones and coming to other phones, that's good for all of us to know. So again, I thought that was an interesting and good story. Nothing else new in the comments. So we will continue on. It's going to be an early night, of course, if it's just me, as we well know. All right, another Gemini story. A competition for Siri, that's what I said. Gemini Live now available on iOS. And this was on Tech Radar. And this was from 2 days ago. You can finally use Gemini Live on an iPhone as Google launches Gemini app for iOS. And I have used my Gemini app on my Android phones a number of times already, and I find it very good. So that's great. And it was written by John Anthony DeSoto. And it just says, move aside, Siri. So let's go into read a view. Google has unveiled a standalone iPhone Gemini app that includes support for Gemini Live, the incredibly smart AI voice mode. And I'm finding that the answers I get from the Gemini app are very good answers. They're usually right at the top, and they're usually pretty much as I need to know. But of course, you can go in depth if you want to. Gemini was previously available via the Google app for iOS by clicking through tabs. I didn't even know that. But now this standalone version makes it incredibly easy to access Google's AI chatbot whenever you want. The Gemini app has iOS-specific features like dynamic island integration. That's very cool. And even supports Gemini extensions for apps like Gmail, allowing you to ask Gemini questions about your inbox. That's very cool, doing it on an iPhone. Earlier this week, the app appeared on the App Store in the Philippines, but now users around the world can get a taste of everything Gemini has to offer. So you had it before anybody, Renz, which is good, I guess. Free to download from the App Store, you can subscribe to Gemini Advanced for more features via an in-app purchase, which costs $18.99, $18.99 pounds, I guess it is. Yeah, it's not euros, it's pounds. Roughly $30 in Australian. With Gemini Advanced, you can take advantage of Gemini Live, one of the most impressive AI voice assistants we've tested so far. I won't be paying for it. Gemini Live on iPhone. Gemini Live works very well in our initial testing of the Gemini iOS app. It has seamless dynamic island and lock screen integration, so you can quickly interact with AI without opening the app. That's great. And it's very responsive to even the most difficult prompts. So I will try this out over the weekend on my iPhone. See what I think. I'll report back if I get somewhere. Gemini Live's natural voice is seriously impressive, and considering we're still waiting for Siri to take its final Apple Intelligence form, this could be the go-to for a lot of people looking for the ideal virtual assistant for the best iPhones. I'm surprised Apple let them do this so early. Sign up to be the first to know about unmissable Black Friday. Okay, that's just a commercial. So anyway, I just thought it's good because, like I say, I do like my Gemini app on my Android phone, so I'll be trying it out on my iPhone sometime over the weekend. So what have I got? I've got 2 stories left. Zero Cam. Photos overprocessed? Zero Cam can fix that. Once again, Tech Radar. Again, 2 days ago. Tired of overprocessed photos? New Android app joins the anti-AI alternatives that shoot like old school digicams by Mark Wilson. Somewhere between raw and overcooked. So to review we go. A new Android app called Zero Cam, and I haven't tried this yet, has just launched to give photographers, this is where I wish Ted was here, he'd be the perfect guy for this, a more natural alternative to the over-processed snaps that many phones shoot by default. Zero Cam is already available on iOS, but has now come out of beta for Android, so I guess we can all use it now. The app has a simple stripped-down interface and shoots in the RAW format, an option that is already available in many other camera apps. Now, remember, RAW format uses a lot more storage when you use it, so keep that in mind. However, like Halid's Process Zero feature, I guess that's how you pronounce it, Halid, which is iOS only, Zero Cam differentiates itself from other apps in its treatment of that RAW photo. If left untouched, the RAW file will look flat and lifeless. So Zero Cam applies a custom-made LUT lookup table, which is similar to a preset or a filter. This promises to be much less heavy-handed than the computational processing most phones apply automatically. So it's going to give you less of that heavy-handed computational processing. That's the whole purpose, I gather. Instead of an over-sharpened or over-processed shot, Zero Cam told us its aim is to produce more subtle shots like those from small pocket digital cameras. The app also applies noise reduction, that's good, and lens corrections to achieve that look. The downside is that you'll need to pay a subscription to fully unlock Zero Cam and shoot unlimited photos. 99 cents a month or $10.99 a year. That seems awfully reasonable to me. So you'll need to weigh whether its simplicity is worth the automation of tweaks you can achieve manually in some of the best camera apps. So I'll probably try this out at some point. Not sure when, but I'll let you know if I do. Analysis, cook according to taste. So I guess you get to choose the processing in that app, looks like. And this is the Halid app's process zero mode, so this is not even Zero Cam. Has a similar stripped down philosophy to Zero Cam, but it is iOS only. So this one you can only get on iOS. Rather than being anti-AI apps like Zero Cam are really more anti-computational photography. Yeah, okay. Rather than being anti-AI, apps like Zero Cam are really more anti-computational photography. Since the Google Pixel 4, computational processing has revolutionized the best camera phones and taken them to new heights. But for many, it now goes too far and produces unrealistic flat photos that fall apart when you crop into them. And you do hear some of the big YouTubers, when they do their photo examples, they talk about that over processing. So this might be good for people like that. There are ways to get simpler, more camera-like photos from your phone, but this usually involves shooting in the RAW format and manually editing your snap to taste using apps like Snapseed or Lightroom. Apps like ZeroCam and Hurley's Process Zero feature are here to fill that gap, albeit at a price. Well, the price isn't bad. It's a similar trend to the one that's seen the return of film cameras. Rather than trying to mask the limitations of smaller, cheaper cameras, these apps encourage users to embrace the physical drawbacks of smaller sensors and take snaps like the cameras of the past. Whether you prefer that or the incredible processing skills of the best Android phones is a matter of taste, and there's no correct answer. But computational photography certainly isn't going anywhere, so it's good to have alternative options, I agree. Even if they do, unfortunately, come with a subscription sting. Not much of a sting, I don't think. So anyway, something to try out if you guys are interested. And like I said, if I try it out, which I probably will at some point, I'll let you guys know. So I've got one more story. Okay, no Ted or anybody. Nothing else. No. Brian said, AI is untrustworthy currently. I guess because of the comment they made about people, 1 in 3 not trusting it in some countries and 1 in 5 not trusting it. I mean, only 1 in 3 trusting it in some countries and 1 in 5 in other countries. And Brian's being his normal faithful self. Thank you so much, sir. Much appreciated, as you will know. All right, last story. Is TSMC's new Arizona fab opening in December a big deal? Both Biden and Trump will attend. And I just thought since both of them were attending, it kind of gives you an idea of what I've been telling you about the chips. Like, they're a huge, big deal. And I guess the incoming president and the current president both know that. So I've got this on Tom's Hardware. And it was from November 8th. Both Trump and Biden expect to attend TSMC's Arizona Fab grand opening ceremony. Fab 21 opens in December. So let's go to read a view. TSMC is gearing up to hold an opening ceremony for its Fab 21 in Arizona sometime in December 2024, reports DigiTimes. The ceremony will mark a major milestone in the company's international expansion and the result of the CHIPS and Science Act implemented by the outgoing Biden administration. And this is the kind of thing that Biden signed that act into law for, so we could get more chips being made in this country. Well, I guess chips being made. I don't think that any chips made here yet. Is expected to attract high-ranking attendees and highlight its business and geopolitical significance. Yeah, TSMC is one of the most important companies in the world because they make so many chips, so many of the major world's chips. This opening ceremony is rumored to be held on December 6th following the recent U.S. election, positioning it as a business and political landmark for U.S.-Taiwan relations and semiconductor strategy. The event will include President-elect Donald Trump, President Joe Biden, Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs, and TSMC founder Morris Chang. When the Fab show was completed in 2022, the ceremony was also attended by TSMC CEO CCY and leaders from Apple, AMD, and NVIDIA. So it's reasonable to expect some of TSMC's biggest customers to participate in the upcoming event. Yeah, because TSMC makes chips for all of them. TSMC plans to invest around $65 billion. Yeah, it's expensive to do these fabs. In its Fab 21 campus in Arizona and build 3 phases for the fab. So far, the company has received $6.6 billion in direct subsidies, $5 billion in loans, and a potential 25% tax credit on investments. I didn't think they'd get any of this done this quick, so I think they're doing pretty good. TSMC's Fab 21 Phase 1 is reportedly already producing chips for Apple using one of the supported process technologies, N5, N5P, N4, N4P, and N4X. Following delays, the production facility will officially start manufacturing, now get this, chips for its American customers sometime in 2025. What? Apple's not an American customer? Come on. So the upcoming opening ceremony is essentially a formality. Yeah, if they're already producing for Apple, but I guess it is a big deal because now they'll be producing for everybody, at least in America. The Fab 21 Phase 2 shell is under construction and expected to be completed shortly. TSMC's Fab 21 Phase 2 will produce chips using the company's N3 or N2 process technologies, 3-nanometer class or 2-nanometer. Well, who ever thought we'd be down to 2-nanometer class chips? It's projected to come online in 2027, 2028, depending on market conditions and incentives provided by the U.S. government and Arizona. Finally, Fab 21 Phase 3 is expected to start production late this decade or early next. At this point, it is too early to predict the production technologies it will support, though we are likely talking about 1-nanometer class node. That's amazing. That shows you how fast things are moving, folks. But anyway, we're getting a very important company. Now they'll be making chips here and in their own. They're also building one in their own country that's even more advanced, which we went over that last week. So good things are happening here. So let me stop screen. So that's all I've got for today. No Ted joined us today, but I'm glad for you regular. I'm glad Brian, Eleanor, Renz, glad you guys popped in, and whoever else watched. And please remember to give us your thumbs up and also to spread it around to others and share it. So we will be back next week. Or at least I'll be back next week again, maybe with Ted. Who knows? I said to Brian he'd like to Play Protect. He said, nice article on the Google Play Protect. Yeah, because Brian's a big Pixel user, as am I. So next week, I'll be back. Maybe we'll get Ted. Brian says, have a great weekend, everyone. You too, Brian. You guys have a very blessed weekend, and I will see you next week. And let's remember, we all do better when we love each other. See you, folks.